Have you ever wondered what happens when you completely vanish from someone's life? Not just pulling back a little, but truly disappearing, no texts, no calls, no contact at all. What do they actually feel when you're gone? In today's world, where people often take others for granted, it's time to flip the script. Disappear, and you'll see how quickly their world begins to crumble. This message could change your perspective. If you've ever been in a relationship or situation where someone treated you as an afterthought, this is for you. We're diving into a transformative concept today: what happens when you walk away completely, and how it shifts the dynamic forever. We'll uncover 10 intense emotional stages they experience when you disappear. By the end, you'll understand why walking away without looking back can be one of the most powerful decisions you'll ever make. If you're ready to reclaim your worth, if you're done being treated like an option, leave a comment below that says, "I'm done being an option." By the time we finish, you won't accept anything less than respect and value. Stay with me until the very end, because the final emotional stage we'll cover is the most surprising and impactful of them all. You don't want to miss it. Let's dive in. 1. The sting of rejection. This is where the impact starts. They never truly believed you would leave. You were the one who consistently cared, initiated plans, and showed up. To them, you were reliable, until you weren't. When you disappear, it hits them like a brick they didn't see coming. You've probably heard the saying, "You don't know what you have until it's gone." That's exactly what happens here. Your absence isn't just physical, it's the removal of everything you represented: comfort, validation, and unwavering availability. It's not a surface-level rejection, it's a deep, personal blow. For the first time, they realize they don't have control over you. When someone feels they can always rely on your presence, they stop valuing it. You become a fallback option rather than a priority. When you vanish, you take away their safety net, leaving them in freefall. Suddenly, they're confronted with questions like, "How did I let this happen? How did I lose them?" Here's the key: if you want them to feel the full weight of rejection, you have to disappear without warning. Don't tell them you're leaving. Don't give ultimatums. Don't beg for their attention. Just go. When you leave without explanation, it forces them to face the reality of their actions. It sends a clear message: you're done being disrespected. Don't look back. Let them feel the loss of the person they thought would always be there. 2. The void of missing you. Once the initial sting of rejection subsides, they're left with something far more enduring: a growing void. This emptiness creeps in slowly, like a shadow they can't shake. It's unsettling because they never truly expected to feel this way. At first, they may convince themselves they'll be fine. If they leave, I'll just move on, they tell themselves. Confidence in their ability to forget you acts as a temporary shield. But when your absence becomes their reality, that shield starts to crumble. The void they now feel is deeper than they anticipated. What they don't realize initially is that the void isn't just a lack of your presence. It's the absence of your unique energy, the love, support, and warmth you brought to their life. You weren't just a companion, you were their source of connection, grounding, and even joy. Without you, everything feels dull, lifeless, and incomplete. The irreplaceable connection. One of the most difficult realizations for someone who takes others for granted is this: relationships are not interchangeable. They might initially believe they can replace you. They may try to distract themselves with new people, short-term flings, or surface-level connections. But no matter how much effort they put into finding a replacement, it never truly works. Why? Because no one can replicate what you gave them. Your laughter that brightened their darkest days. The deep conversations that made them feel truly seen and understood. The way you noticed the little things, like their quirks, moods, and dreams, even when they didn't say a word. These are the intangibles, the things they can't find in someone else. They might attempt to replace you, but they quickly realize that what they had with you was one of a kind. A growing emptiness. At this stage, they may turn to distractions to mask the void. Work, hobbies, socializing, or even scrolling endlessly through their phone become their go-to coping mechanisms. But here's the truth, nothing fills the emptiness. That new hobby, it doesn't bring them joy. Their nights out with friends, fleeting moments that leave them feeling hollow. New romantic interests, they pale in comparison to the depth you offered. Instead of alleviating the emptiness, these distractions only serve as a reminder of what they've lost. The void grows larger with every failed attempt to fill it, consuming their thoughts and pulling them into a spiral of regret. The impact of inaccessibility. Here's where the impact of your decision to walk away intensifies: make yourself completely inaccessible. Block them on social media. Delete their number. Avoid mutual friends who might carry updates about your life. Why is this so effective? Because it denies them the one thing they desperately crave, even the smallest connection to you. Every time they think of you and realize they can't reach out, the void deepens. Every missed opportunity to check in on your life, your happiness, your progress, becomes a harsh reminder that they've lost their access to you. Even simple acts like seeing your name online or casually scrolling through your posts would have provided them with some comfort. But when you remove even these small windows into your life, they're left with nothing but the harsh reality of their loss. The lesson in your absence. People don't value what they have until it's gone. And in your case, your absence isn't just noticeable, it's a profound void they carry with them every day. They start to replay your memories together, recognizing the ways you enriched their life. They remember the way you supported them when no one else did. How you showed up, even when they didn't deserve it. The warmth and care you brought into their world without asking for anything in return. This reflection, however painful for them, is necessary. Let them sit in that emptiness. Let them reflect on their actions, or lack thereof, and come to terms with the fact that they're responsible for losing you. The emotional weight of realization. Over time, they begin to truly understand what they had with you. The void becomes a powerful lesson. It's not just the absence of a person, but the absence of meaning, connection, and fulfillment. Your decision to disappear was more than an act of self-preservation, it was a wake-up call for them. By creating that space, you allow them to see what life looks like without you, and it's a reality they never wanted but now must face. So, hold your ground. Don't give in. Don't let them back in too easily. Let the void do its work. Only then will they fully grasp the gravity of losing you, and appreciate the rarity of what you brought into their life. 3. The urge to pursue you. Once they've spent enough time in self-reflection, something shifts inside them. They go from questioning themselves to wanting you back. The tables have turned. You were once the one who put in all the effort, who cared, who pursued. But now it's their turn. The urge to pursue you becomes overwhelming. They can't stop thinking about you, can't stop wanting to reach out, can't stop wondering if it's too late to make things right. They'll send those "I've been thinking about you" texts. They'll like your old social media posts or comment on something to see if you respond. They might even send a late-night message after a few drinks, hoping to rekindle what was lost. But here's the thing, they're chasing you now. You've gone from being taken for granted to being the one they're desperate to win back. This is where you hold all the power. Don't respond. Let them feel the desperation. Let them wonder if you've moved on. The more they pursue, the more they'll realize they've lost control of the situation. When they start chasing, don't give in. The moment you respond, the power shifts back to them. You've worked too hard to reclaim your worth. Let them pursue you, but don't reward their efforts. Silence is your strongest tool here. 4. The crushing weight of silence. Silence is often underestimated, but when it comes to emotional impact, it can be absolutely devastating. When you vanish and withdraw all forms of communication, no calls, no texts, no replies, it creates an overwhelming emptiness that speaks louder than words ever could. For someone accustomed to the constant presence of a relationship, the conversations, even the occasional disagreements, the abrupt cessation of all communication can feel like being thrown into a void. Silence doesn't just echo, it screams. Why is silence so powerful? It forces introspection. Without your words to guide or comfort them, they are left alone with their thoughts. Every unanswered question, unresolved issue, and unspoken feeling resurfaces, demanding attention. It's unexpected. People often expect closure or explanation when things fall apart. By giving none, you create a powerful contrast to what they anticipated. It creates a sense of mystery. They don't know what you're thinking, where you are, or how you feel. That uncertainty can be maddening. The weight of unanswered questions. Every minute of silence feels heavier than the last. Questions like, why did they leave, what are they doing now, or, do they even miss me, begin to dominate their thoughts. They'll replay past interactions, overanalyzing every detail, searching for clues. Did they miss the signs? Was there something they could have done differently? The inability to get answers amplifies the emotional impact. Let your silence speak. This is your chance to reclaim control. Don't break the silence. Don't explain yourself. Your absence is the loudest statement you can make. Each day they don't hear from you reinforces the reality of what they've lost. Silence demands their full attention and forces them to face the consequences of their actions. It's not about punishing them, it's about allowing them to feel the full weight of your absence. 5. The fear of losing you forever. After sitting with the crushing weight of silence, their emotions take a drastic turn. What begins as uncertainty quickly spirals into fear, a fear that grips them with intensity. The fear of losing you forever. They start asking themselves, what if they've moved on? What if they've found someone better? What if it's truly too late? The thought of someone else. Nothing ignites this fear faster than imagining you with someone new. When they begin to grasp the full scope of your absence, the fear of seeing you with someone else becomes their greatest nightmare. The idea of you being happy, laughing, and enjoying the company of someone who values you more than they did can be paralyzing. It's a cruel, relentless vision, one that twists deeper with each passing thought. They'll picture you in new, intimate moments. The way someone else can make you smile in the same way they once did, but now with more sincerity. The joy you share as you build memories and create a life filled with things they never took the time to offer. The deep emotional connection they failed to nurture, now being fulfilled by someone who doesn't take you for granted. Every mental image of you with another person feels like a sharp blade piercing their heart. It reinforces their worst fear, you are truly gone, and they've lost you for good. The realization, they hesitated, you moved on. What cuts through them the most is the sudden realization that their hesitation and neglect might have cost them more than they ever anticipated. While they held back, unsure or indifferent, you've moved forward. The silence, the space you've created, has allowed you to grow emotionally and gain the clarity they denied you. For them, it becomes a nightmare of missed opportunities. They never valued you as they should have, assuming you'd always be there. Now they can't help but wonder, what if they lost the most important person they've ever had? As this fear intensifies, their focus shifts away from everything else. They can no longer concentrate on work, hobbies, or socializing because their mind is consumed by the thought of losing you to someone else. It's a fear that gnaws at them constantly. Desperate measures. This fear soon morphs into panic. When they realize that you might be moving on, they'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. However, these actions reveal their emotional fragility, exposing their desperation. In their need to undo the damage, they may take extreme steps. Apologize profusely, expect lengthy messages of regret. They'll say things they never thought they'd admit, acknowledging their mistakes, promising change, and begging for forgiveness. They may write you emotional letters or send text after text in an attempt to break through the silence. Dramatic gestures, they may show up at your door, uninvited and unexpected, seeking reconciliation. Their pride has crumbled, and all that's left is their deep fear of losing you forever. They might go to extremes, hoping a grand gesture will be enough to undo their past neglect. Stalking your social media, in desperation, they might turn to social media to check on you. They'll scroll through your posts, hoping for a glimpse into your life, maybe even to see if someone else has taken their place. If they can't find direct access, they might reach out to mutual friends. At this stage, their fear is overpowering. They'll ignore their pride, apologize for things they never thought they'd admit, and behave in ways that show they're no longer in control. The sense of urgency is overwhelming, they need to stop you from moving on, and they need to do it now. But here's the key, you've already moved on. By the time they begin their desperate attempts to win you back, you're already a step ahead. You've moved on emotionally, and you've built a life that no longer revolves around them. Their panic may briefly tug at your heartstrings, but you know better now. Their apologies, grand gestures, and social media antics are not enough to undo the past. The damage has been done, and the truth is, you've grown stronger and more independent through this process. You no longer need their validation, and you've stopped waiting for their approval. This is the turning point. Your silence and emotional independence have shown them that they cannot manipulate the situation anymore. You've reclaimed your power, and no amount of regret can change the course of your future. The lesson here is clear, you are not a backup plan. You are not a second option. You are someone deserving of respect, attention, and loyalty. The lesson in letting go. Their fear, regret, and desperation ultimately teach them a hard lesson. You are not someone to be taken for granted. They'll look back at their behavior and realize they missed their chance to appreciate you. They'll see that while they hesitated, you found your own path forward. And more importantly, someone else will value you in ways they never did. As you continue to move forward, building a life full of emotional freedom and growth, they are left with the realization that they had the opportunity to change but failed to do so in time. This is their greatest regret, one they'll carry with them, while you step into a future that's brighter, more fulfilling, and free from the chains of someone else's neglect. 6. The realization of emotional independence. As you fully detach from the relationship, you don't just walk away from them, you walk toward your own emotional freedom. The moment you disconnect, something inside you shifts. You're no longer dependent on their approval, validation, or presence. You begin to see yourself in a new light. You've outgrown their games, the emotional manipulation, the cycles of insecurity and doubt. You've stopped trying to please them or to seek reassurance from them. You've broken free of their control. Now, you are stronger, emotionally independent, clear-headed, and focused on your own well-being. You don't need anyone to validate your worth because you've already learned to value yourself. This is where your victory truly lies, emotional independence. They will feel the weight of this transformation. It's no longer about what they think or feel, it's about you. The person you've become, the life you're building, and the respect you demand from those around you.